Hello and good morning, everybody. How you doing? This is Rich Harshaw. I'm the founder and owner and I don't know, the main guy at Monopolize Your Marketplace. How you doing today? Glad to have you with me again. I know for many of you, this is one of many webinars of mine that you've attended, and if that is true, then I truly appreciate you being with me again. We've got a fun topic today. It's guerrilla marketing, and the reason all the webinars are fun, for me at least, and I hope they're fun for you, but this one really is a lot of fun, and I'm going to tell you why. Because number one, it's rapid fire. There's really no cohesive idea that ties all the ideas together other than they're all guerrilla marketing ideas. So I'm going to just hit up one after the other. And number two, some of these ideas, I'm just going to tell you right up front right now, they're a little bit crazy. Some of these are a little bit out there, and you might look at some of them and say, gosh, I don't think that's something I would want to do. And that's okay. What I'm trying to do is just give you some ideas. There will be many of them that will be, right there and easier and not so far out. So don't be alarmed that everything I'm going to share with you is going to be some kind of crazy, weird idea. Although there are a few crazy, weird ideas, the majority of them I think will be sort of right in your wheelhouse. So that being said, let's go ahead and do some of the preliminaries and give you an idea of how we came together today. It's a result of the sponsors from Monopolize Your Marketplace, including the ones you see on your screen: Market Sharp, Guild Quality, Qualified Remodeler, Gutter Covers International, and Bath Wraps by Liner Direct. And if we didn't have these sponsors, we would not have this webinar. It's just that simple. So here's what I'd like to ask you to do. I do this on just about all the webinars and some of the live events that we do. If you attend today's webinar, or if you're listening to this or watching this on the back end on a recording, and you like the content and you feel like it's valuable, do me a favor and just shoot a note, an email over to whichever sponsor on the screen invited you to this webinar, and just let them know that you appreciate them creating the support for this type of event. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to them. So please do that. And we will hear from some of these sponsors as we go throughout the webinar today. And we'll start actually by hearing from just a couple before we get going, and then later on in the middle of the webinar we'll hear from a couple more. I do want to let you know that there will be a book giveaway today. I'll be giving away 3 copies of Monopolize Your Marketplace. The subtitle is Separate Your Business from the Competition, Then Eliminate Them. And we will give those 3 books away via random drawing at the end of the webinar today. So you must be present to win. I will choose them randomly from the people who are in attendance on the line at the moment that we give them away. That'll be towards the end. Now we're going to go for probably in the neighborhood of about an hour and 15 minutes. I will then take questions. So that just gives you sort of an idea of how long we'll be going. So let's hear from a couple of our sponsors. I actually only have one of our 5 sponsors that is present. That's Tim Mush from Market Sharp, and he'll be speaking to us a little bit later towards the middle part of the webinar. But I do want to introduce you to 3 of my sponsors right now. The first one is Qualified Remodeler Magazine. You're probably familiar with this, the premier publication in the industry. I've spoken at their Top 500 event on 2 different occasions. Just been a great sponsor for Monopolize Your Marketplace. If you're not currently a subscriber, here's the best part. It's free, so all you have to do is go to their website, just Google Qualified Remodeler Magazine, or go to forresidentialpros.com and get their publication. I also write columns for their publication, for the written printed publication, also do blog postings for them, so you can check more Monopolize Your Marketplace out in my affiliation with that organization. Next is Guild Quality. Guild Quality is a company that specializes in helping you aggregate and disseminate online reviews from your customers. It's the premier organization. There are tons of them out there that do this kind of thing, but this is far and away the best one. And they're going to help you with social proof, conversion ability on your website. This is a company that we recommend. And understand, these companies are not sponsors because they came to us and said, hey, we want to be a sponsor. We sought them out and said, hey, you're a good fit for what we do. So go to guildquality.com, tell them Monopolize Your Marketplace told you to come, and that will be good. Now, I'm also going to let you know this. At the end of this webinar, okay, we maxed out there. At the end of this webinar, we are going to have a poll. And on that poll, you can click each of the different sponsors that you're interested in hearing more from, and then they'll proactively reach out to you. And you can choose as many or as few as you like. So you'll have an opportunity to do that as well. The next one is Liners Direct, Bath Wraps by Liner Direct. These guys have been Monopolize Your Marketplace sponsors off and on since about 2005. And off and on simply because we stopped doing seminars and events for a couple years in the middle. But besides that, we are just having an issue there. Anyway, would like to tell you a little bit about Bath Wraps by Liner Direct. Obviously, they do bath wraps, liners, bathroom systems. But I want you to know something that's very interesting about this company. They have one of the best marketing programs of any of these kinds of companies that sell bathtubs, bath wraps, of any I've ever seen. They actually have a lead generation program where you can pay them a very reasonable nominal amount per lead for leads that they generate and give to you. It's very unique and different from anything I've seen, and one of the major reasons that I really, really like this company. Now, there's a lot of other reasons too. It's a good quality product, and they've got a lot of other support mechanisms. If you want to film TV commercials, they've got the studio, they've got the talent, they'll help you out. But the lead generation is unbelievable. Check them out, linersdirect.com, or at the end of the webinar, you can click them on the on a survey that I'll do. Okay, let's talk about guerrilla marketing. And what is guerrilla marketing, and what are we trying to accomplish here? It's any attempt to get additional new customers using non-traditional methods. Non-traditional methods, usually it's more about outthinking your competitors than outspending them. And we're not talking about things that are just only available for small companies, but you know, I remember I had a conversation with one of my clients. They were doing $3-4 million a year in sales, and the guy says, man, I remember when we first started, instead of doing all this advertising and placing all these ads and home shows, he said, I would simply take a cassette recorder and go around, look at homes in nice neighborhoods that obviously needed, it was a roofing company, metal roofing company. I would jot down their address, and then I'd go back to my office and I'd send out 5 or 10 or 15 letters that I wrote up on my computer, and I'd print them out and I would mail them to these guys. And I'd get all kinds of leads, and I was as busy as I could stand. He said, it worked fantastic. And I looked at him and I said, well, why don't you do that now? And he said, I don't know. I just don't have time. So a lot of times these things are good for smaller businesses, newer businesses, but I want you to understand that they're not exclusively for small companies, but larger companies can do this stuff. You're really trading some effort and some time instead of spending money on the marketing, okay? Use your brains along with your checkbook is the way I like to look at it. So if you're a bigger company, you've got an ad budget, and you've got marketing dollars, you've got ads that are being spent in home shows and mailing and all these different kinds of things that you might do, I want you to maybe carve out a little bit of your time and attention and money and spend it on some of this guerrilla marketing stuff. So that being said, here's what I want you to know about how to use this webinar. Take notes, okay? You need to have a pen and a pencil. You need to be writing down notes furiously, and then you can also go back and listen to this later. We're going to post it on our website. You'll be able to see it there. I always get a question at the end, is this going to be posted for later? And the answer is yes, okay? So just look for it. And we're having some problems with this. Be willing to get outside of your box, test things conservatively, then roll it out. Do not see an idea on this webinar and then just go spend a ton of money or time or effort on it. Test it, roll it out, see how it works for you in your situations. Only try a couple of new things at a time. Don't try 15 things that you see on here. Just do 1 or 2 things at a time. If something doesn't work out, then move on to something else. Okay, the key is to try something and then find a few things that work. That's what we want to do. So here's the predicating comment here is to do something unusual that people will notice because it's different, okay? That's what we're trying to do. So let's start with guerrilla canvassing. Now everybody knows about canvassing. You go, you send your guys out, they knock on doors and all that kind of stuff, guerrilla canvassing. But I'm going to show you a couple of kinds of canvassing that are more of a guerrilla bent. This is one I call the timeshare method. Now, you ever been to a timeshare pitch before? You get a good deal on a vacation, and then they put you in this room, they lock you in there, and they try to beat you up with this sales pitch. I'm not talking about beating people up with the sales pitch. That's not what I'm talking about. But I am talking about compensating people for their time to listen to your sales pitch. So imagine this, you knock on the door. What could you offer somebody in exchange for them giving you a few minutes of their time to listen to your sales pitch. Think about the money that you would spend on advertising and just give it away instead, okay? What is needed and what is related to you to sell? So maybe if you do gutter protection, you could do free gutter cleaning as part of a neighborhood cleanup. Or you could do free window cleaning or a handyman job right there on the spot. Hey, I'm in the neighborhood. I was just wondering if you had anything that you needed done right now that I could help you with. Anything, I've got this set of tools. I've got 20 minutes. Anything you need, I'll do it right now. Here's my credentials. I'm, a legitimate guy. I'm not trying to come in and murder your family. And you do something for them right there on the spot. Or, now it says King Kong here. Now I know the word guerrilla in guerrilla marketing is Guerilla, not Gorilla. But I want to take it to the King Kong gorilla. I mean, straight up cash. What if you went and knocked on somebody's door? Now, the reason I'm starting with canvassing, let me back up for a second, is because especially when you're small, what a great way, if you have no money but you have time, to get in and talk to people. But this is a methodology that will allow you to get in more often. What if you went and you figured out that the average person's time in this neighborhood is worth $30 an hour, and you wanted to give them a sales pitch for 4 minutes? So 4 minutes divided by 60 minutes is 7% of $30 is, well, what is that? 0.07 times 30 is $2.10. That's not very impressive. What if we offered them $10 or $8.52? And they open the door, and instead of going into a sales pitch, you had $8.25 in your hand. And you said, hey, I know it's awkward. I'm on your door. I'm trying to sell something, obviously, and I know you hate salespeople, but you know what? To make it fair, what if I paid you for your time? It'll only take anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes. I'll give you $8.25, and all you got to do is stand there and listen to me for 3 or 4 minutes. Is it worth it? And here's what you'll find. People will go, what? Huh? And they've never had someone knock on their door and offer them money. It's the timeshare method. If you do this, let me tell you what will happen. People will listen to you. And listening to you is 95% of the problem that you'll have with canvassing. Is this kind of a goofy idea? It's a little goofy. Does this idea work? It works like crazy. Try it. Think about it a little bit. Okay? Now let's go to the second guerrilla canvassing methodology, micro canvassing. Now, this is what you're going to do in conjunction with proximity marketing or new movers. Situational, meaning there's a certain situation in the neighborhood. Maybe all the homes are built in a certain era and have builder-grade windows, and they need to be upgraded, or they have really old, aluminum windows, or maybe a hailstorm blew through and the roofs are destroyed, or maybe they have this, black mold growing on the roofs, or the siding in this particular neighborhood, or the neighborhood is built in 1985 to 1990, and the kitchens are needing to be remodeled. Whatever it is, germane to your specific situation, okay? Mail them a few times and then send them in a micro canvasser with a clipboard. Now, when I say micro canvasser, I'm not talking about a little short dude. I'm talking about a micro canvasser, meaning one specific person, okay? Just one person, not a van full of guys, but one specific person. Send them out there with a clipboard that has all the names and addresses of all the people that you've mailed to. And maybe if you're a more established company, maybe you send out your proximity mailers to 100 or 150 neighbors of your job site. If you're a smaller, newer, just starting out, maybe you only do 10 or 20 or 50, whatever. Whatever your budget allows is fine. But here's the key thing. Those mailers are going to help sort of soften up the ground, and then you're going to go in with your quote-unquote micro canvasser, and you're going to have a lot more success. Now, when you do this, you're going to want to use the big bill approach. Now, the big bill, if you've not heard me talk about this before, is exactly what it says. It's a big bill. It's 17 inches by 7.3 inches, and it looks like a giant dollar bill. It's an icebreaker when they open the door. Now, if you don't want to use the timeshare method, use this other method with the big bill. And with the big bill, when they open the door, you extend it and say, I'd like to give you $1,000. Now, it's a $1,000 bill, or $500 if it's a $500 bill. Whatever the amount is should be germane to whatever offer that you want to make them. So if you want to give them $500 off a siding job, up to 10% off, up to $500 or up to $1,000, then make the bill for that particular amount. If they're not home, just attach it to their door so that they'll see it. Now, I'm going to, okay, I told you there's some crazy stuff here. Here's a King Kong Guerrilla canvassing part 2. This is for micro canvassing, and it's called Pretty Old Door Knockers. Now, I invented this back, 8-10 years ago. I had a company that was a client of mine that was an insurance company, and the guy said that his typical customers were elderly, widowed women, and they were lonely, and a lot of times if you would knock on their doors to sell them insurance, they would just want to talk to you. And I said, well, why don't you get old, widowed, or single men that are in their 70s to go be your salesman? And he went, wow, that's amazing. And he hadn't thought of it. And so he did. And he found that when he sent these older men out knocking on the doors of these widowed women, that they were very interested in having a discussion. Now, it says pretty old door knockers. Here's what I'm trying to say with this concept is find somebody that's a demographic match to whoever you're trying to knock on their doors and send that person in, okay? Now, it says pretty old door knockers. Hey, I'm not trying to go all Hooters on you here, okay? But the idea is find somebody who's a demographic match. And I'm going to just leave that at that. We got too many things to cover to delve into that in too much detail. Here's a picture of a door with one of the big bills hanging from it. I'll blow it up so you can see it a little bit bigger. It's a $1,000 bill in this case. And it just sits there on the door. And when people come home, if they didn't happen to be there when you knocked on their door, they see this thing there and they're like, wow, that's a big old honking $1,000 bill. And on the other side of it, of course, is information about your company. You see here on the left, are you persnickety, demanding, hard to please, picky, then I'm the remodeler for you. We've got another one for a company called the Window Nerd. I won't go into a lot of details on those right this second, but just suffice it to say, we've got a message about your company on the back of the door knocker, okay? And you can make the amount anything you want, up to $1,000, $10,000. We got a $0 bill here. This is for a company that offered no discounts. And their whole thing was we don't offer discounts. So we created a $0 bill. And the whole idea was, hey, here's a discount of $0. And the reason is because we don't play crazy pricing games. We just want to give you a fair price up front. So, you know, even though I'm giving you this discount, it's really $0. And it actually had a tremendous effect because it was so disarming, okay? Now, let's talk about home shows. Guerrilla Quick Hit home shows. Use a sweepstakes and a big bill at the home show. Create a giveaway or sweepstakes. You see here, there's a sign. This is one of those pop-up banners for a $20,000 home remodeling giveaway. And you might look at that and think, golly, I could never give away $20,000. It's too much. Well, you don't have to give away $20,000. Give away $5,000. Whatever amount you give away should be about, it should cost you, your hard cost should be about half, right? So if you sell windows and you give away $5,000 worth of windows, your hard cost on that should only be about half, right? Because of your margins. So create the giveaway and then use the big bill. And the big bill should be whatever the amount of the giveaway is. It's a fantastic icebreaker. I cannot emphasize to you enough. If you're at a home show or in any situation, canvassing, home show, events, wherever you're in a face-to-face environment, if you hand somebody that big bill, I promise you, okay? I'm not saying it might work. I'm not saying, you know, I'm saying I flat guarantee and promise you that this thing works to break the ice. What you do is you just extend the bill and you say, hey, I'd like to give you $20,000. Or let's say you got a $5,000 window giveaway. I'd like to give you $5,000. It breaks the ice. Now you have a conversation, okay? And come to think of it, you could also hand out $8.25 if you wanted to. And by the way, there's nothing magic about $8.25. It could just as easily be $4.13 or any other number you wanted. Then gather information on what they're interested in, whether it's kitchens, bathrooms, whatever is germane to your particular business. And then on the back end, after the home show, we now call them with a first prize script. This is why we like the giveaway. It's not just about having the big bill that stops them in their tracks at the home show. It's also about calling them on the back end and saying, hey, I got your name here. I see that you were at our home show last week and you entered our $5,000 window replacement window giveaway. I'm calling to let you know that you are not the grand prize winner. However, we do hold first prize drawings, and I'm calling to let you know that you won first prize, which is a $1,000 gift card for XYZ Windows. I've got your address here on your entry form as 1231 Whispering Oaks, and I just wanted to make sure that that's still accurate. Is that correct? It is? Great, I'll send over the gift card. By the way, I see on here that you filled out that you're mostly interested, if you won the sweepstakes, in double hung windows. Let me ask you this. And now I'm just going into a set of questions to find out if they have any interest or urgency in talking to me about windows. How old is your home? Are the windows original to the home? Are there any particular problems with your windows that you have right now? Have you considered replacing your windows before? Is your energy bill, does it seem like it's too high? Have you ever had a contractor come in and talk to you about your windows? Have you priced them out? How much do you think they ought to cost? And then if they remain interested in that conversation, you then go to a close, right? Hey, my boss has authorized me that if you'd be willing to set an appointment to have one of our sales reps come out and talk to you for about 45 minutes, that I can actually double the amount of this gift card that you've won for the first prize from 500 to 1,000, from 1,000 to 2,000, whatever the number is that works best with your situation, okay? That's how that works. Now, let's talk about making a theme. We're going to just be all over the map here today. Make a video. Cool stuff like blend tech or flamethrowers or stormproof windows. You guys, have you ever seen blend tech? If you've never seen blend tech, here's what you need to do. Go to Google and Google this phrase, will it blend? Just Google it, and it'll come up the videos. And you see here on the bottom left of this particular slide, you see this guy holding the iPad. What this guy does, he's got a blender company, and he started his little funny series of videos where he takes random objects that are interesting and he puts them into a blender to see if they'll blend into dust. And one of his most popular videos is he took an iPhone, he took the iPhone, threw it in the blender, turned it on to blend, and it just pulverized it into dust in about 30 or 45 seconds. And then he took things like an iPad, that's what he has in his hand here, he broke it in half, shoved it into the blender, blended it into dust, and about 100 other things. And these videos are wildly popular, and they've had a tremendous impact on the sales of this company. You might think, well, I'm not a blender company. I don't have any ability to blend an iPad. But you do have an ability to make some sort of video that shows some kind of demonstration that's interesting or inflammatory or unusual or unique about your product. So, for instance, I had a client of mine came to me and he said, hey, watch this video. He showed me a video, and he said he was trying to combat the window worlds of the world. Can you even say that? Window worlds of the world, who have a video that says, we don't just stand behind our windows, we stand on our windows, and it shows them standing on a window. Now, that's a pretty good demonstration because it shows people that the window is strong. But what they did is they took their window and they said, we don't just stand behind our window, we stand on it. But we don't just stand on it, we stand on it with three big fat guys. They didn't use the word fat, but they got three guys, and they were all very large, and they all three stood on this window. And I said, that's a pretty good video, but why don't you take it to the next step? Because it didn't seem that impressive when three guys, even though they were large, stood on this window. What I want you to do next time is I want you to jump up and down on the window. Then what I want you to do is I want you to throw a football at the window, or go get the local high school quarterback and have him throw his hardest shot, his John Elway bomb, at that window and see if it breaks. Or go get somebody that's a golfer and hit a golf ball into the window, or go get the pitcher from the local high school baseball team and have him pitch a ball at it. And maybe he throws it at your competitors and it breaks, and he throws it at yours and it doesn't. Whatever the case is, get a flamethrower, something, a crowbar, whatever it is. Set siding on fire to show that yours is not going to melt like vinyl because yours is fiber cement siding. Whatever is germane and significant and specific to your particular product and situation, make a cool video. Now, the cool thing about making videos is it's easy to do. All you have to own is a phone. If you have an iPhone or an Android phone, guess what? You can make all the videos you possibly need without going to hire some expensive guy. This is the Guerrilla-ist of all guerrilla tactics. Get your freaking phone down. Look, it's $5 for the app that allows you to edit videos. You say, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, learn. You've got nothing else going on. Figure it out. Or go find some kid in high school to edit your video for you. But make a cool video, stick it on your website, create a YouTube channel, and if you don't know how to do any of that stuff, just Google it, and he'll tell you how to do it. The whole world is at your fingertips. I don't know how to do it is not a valid excuse. And make videos, and a series of videos. Number one It's going to be interesting. People are going to like it. Number two, it's going to be a good demonstration of the qualities that your products that you want people to know about. And number three, it's also going to help you tremendously with your search engine optimization. Sit down with a piece of paper, sketch out 10 or 15 different videos that you could create of different kinds of abuse that you want to heap on your products, or customers that you want to have talk about your products. Whatever the case is, make the videos, okay? Next, live events. Now, live events we've all obviously heard of, home shows and things like that. But think about alternative guerrilla type locations. Could you take the flamethrower that you use for the video, or a potato gun, and shoot potatoes at your roofing materials, siding materials, windows, and go to local neighborhoods and put on demonstrations? You say, well, I don't know if that's even legal. I don't know. Call the city and say, here's what I'm going to do, and ask them if you can do it. Ask them if there's a permit fee required. Or if you want to be a real guerrilla, just show up and do it and see if the police show up. Who knows? If the police show up, that might get some people to pay attention. But I'm thinking in my particular neighborhood, I live in a neighborhood that has about 150 homes, and there is a community pool right in the front where everybody that drives in drives pretty much right past this pool. And that pool has a big parking lot right behind the pool that there's pretty much never anybody parking in, because truth be told, nobody hardly uses the community pool, because most people that have pools in their backyard. I'm in Texas. It's hot here. We all have pools. Anyway, you could just pull up into that parking lot, or in the vacant lot across the street. Either way, you could pull out your flamethrower, you could pull out your potato gun, get some signs, get somebody holding a sign, flipping, the signs around that says, hey, look at this, and start shooting, and people will see. And then you send your micro canvasser around the neighborhood. Hey, did you see us shooting potatoes at the windows? Did you see us doing flamethrowers? Whatever the case is. Now, if you're doing flamethrowers, you might need, some sort of fire marshal protection. I don't really know. Think of places where people congregate: ballparks, local parks, recreation facilities, shopping centers. People congregate where you've got eyeballs that can see whatever it is you happen to be doing. Home shows, of course. I don't know if you can bring a flamethrower into the home show or not. That might be frowned upon by the organizer of the event, but you could maybe do it out in the parking lot. I don't know. Think about it. What if you bought a 20 or a 30-foot booth and you set up one of those batting cage type nets that you get down at the local sporting goods store, and you went in there with catcher's gear or with some sort of body armor on, and you started shooting potato guns, which you can make from stuff that you buy at Home Depot. They're not even expensive. Or you could rent one of these air cannons like you see at professional and collegiate sporting events, and you could start shooting stuff at it. I'm telling you, it would make a major impact. I mean, all you got to do on any of these ideas is just create a return on investment scenario. It's going to cost me $500. It's going to cost me $1,000 to put this together. How many windows would I have to sell? If I spend $500 building a potato gun, getting a net from Academy Sports and Outdoors where I can start shooting stuff with my potato gun, I've got to have probably $10 worth of potatoes. It's going to cost me $373 to set this up. How many windows would I have to sell? And the answer is not that many, okay? And you say, well, I'm a high-end kitchen remodeling company. How is that going to work for me? And the answer is maybe it wouldn't. But don't worry about it. This is about guerrilla marketing. Find something. Making a scene. Pimp My Ride. Now, if you ever saw the old TV show, Pimp My Ride, it was taking an old clunker and pimping it out so it was really tricky and cool looking. It was paint, leather, gadgets, cool wheels, all that kind of stuff. Take something that's normal or usual and put an unusual twist on it, okay? That's what we're talking about. People will notice it and gravitate towards it, make it more bigger, more colorful, fancier, more beautiful. And I'm going to tell you this story to illustrate this point. The story is going to seem a little bit weird and odd because the story is about fajitas, okay? I'm going to tell you a fajita story, believe it or not. And what you want to think about is how can you stand out from the crowd, okay? Something people will pay attention to. They'll tell their friends about it. People make an effort to come back for. Now, everybody's had fajitas. At least everybody in Texas has fajitas. I don't know where you live. Maybe you don't do fajitas there. Maybe you're more into crabs or seafood or who knows. But fajitas are big down here in Texas. And one time I went on a trip with one of my associates to San Francisco to do a seminar. And when we got there, the hotel was fairly isolated from other businesses. Went into the front desk. It was late. We'd been on this flight for 3.5 hours from Dallas to San Francisco, then the cab ride and all that, and said, hey, can we get some food? Where's the restaurant? They said, you know what? Unfortunately, our restaurant in the hotel is closed for renovation. But you can, if you want, walk to a restaurant. There's one restaurant in walking distance, and it's around the corner. If you go down this path, and they kind of pointed, you go up there. There is a place that sells Mexican food. It's a Mexican restaurant. We said, great. So we walked around the corner, went up there, and we saw this place that was like it was like a golf, you know, where you like hit golf balls. What do you call that? Like a driving range. And we thought, okay, we're in the wrong place. We looked around, we couldn't figure it out. We went back to the hotel. We said, there's no Mexican restaurant up there. It's a driving range. And the guy goes, oh, no, that's right. It's inside there in the building. And we thought, okay, we didn't have a lot of choices. So we went back and we went inside the building, and sure enough, it was a driving range, but it was also the weirdest thing in the world. It was a combination driving range / soccer pro shop, like where they sell soccer stuff. And inside this building, there was a little, what you'd call taco stand, where a guy was selling Mexican food. And I thought, oh my gosh, this does not look good. This is very, not good. So started to look at the cart a little bit. The guy had a tag on it, said Jose, and I thought, okay, I'm going to order pizza. And then Jose said, well, what can I get you? And he seemed so excited. And I said, man. And so I ordered the fajita. Because you can't go wrong with a fajita, right? You know, enchilada, you're never quite sure what's inside that enchilada. But the fajita, I ordered it, and the guy brought it out to me a few minutes later, and I just stood there with my mouth open, gawking at what he brought me. I'm going to show you a picture on the screen. I want you to pay attention to this. Check this thing out. This is what the guy brought me. And he said, here's your fajita. And I looked at it, and I went, this doesn't even look like a fajita. Now, let me explain to you what's going on here. We've got rice on the bottom. We've got chicken meat around the top. And then we've got this sour cream doily-looking thing with some olives going on here and chips and salsa on the top. And I looked at him, and I said, this is the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. And he's like very humble. He says, oh, thank you. It's just something I do. I'm actually, I'd like to be an artist, but, I'm actually a Mexican food cook. And I thought, this is amazing. Take what you do and do something that makes it memorable and unique and unusual. Now, how do you do that in your business? Well, let me give you a couple of ideas from outside of your business. You ever heard of this thing before? The Big Bertha Golf Club. In 1982, Callaway Golf did $364,000. In 89, they'd grown to $10 million, so pretty good growth over 7 years. In 1990, they'd grown to $22 million. In 1991, they introduced the Big Bertha. Now, Eli Callaway, the founder of Callaway Golf, had gone to Japan, and he'd seen, for the first time in his life, an oversized head on a driver. He'd never seen it before. If you go back to the 80s, if you went golfing, you didn't see this kind of stuff in the United States. You saw the little teeny head woods. They used to be called woods because they're actually made out of wood. And he developed this thing, and he decided to call it the Big Bertha. And there was this legendary story about the board table. They had a big debate, and it actually almost came to blows. There was a lot of people opposed to the name Big Bertha. They said, okay, we like the idea of this big club, but calling it Big Bertha is just dumb. It's a stupid name for a golf club. Now, if you're not familiar, Big Bertha was the nickname of one of the bombers from World War II, and Eli Callaway was a World War II vet. And he said, no, we're going to call it the Big Bertha. And somebody famously said, but it's a stupid name. Nobody's going to buy it. And he said, well, I don't know if it's a stupid name or not, and I don't know if they're going to buy it or not either. But I'll tell you this, everybody's going to remember it. And the rest, as they say, was history. They went to $54 million in 1 year, $849 million 7 years later, and they went to well over $1 billion. It's one of the premier golf companies in the world, even today. A big freaking golf club with a wicked name, Big Bertha. Others you might know, Mac, obviously Apple has been at the forefront of just making stuff cool, right? Air Jordans, I don't know if you remember this shoe or not. It was the first Air Jordan that came out in the early 1980s, and it was so different and cool. Everybody had to have them. And, of course, now Michael Jordan is still the highest-earning athlete at Nike. He makes over $90 million a year from his shoes. $90 million. Guys have played basketball in like 15 years or something. Victoria's Secret is another story of a company that took a product that used to be on the back rack at Montgomery Wards and took it into something that was different and interesting and special. And their price points went through the roof, even though substantially it was the same product. And of course, the MacBook Air, they just keep going and going with their innovation. So make a scene, pimping your ride. What could you do in your business? Make something big or oversized, unique design, eye-catching colors, fancy decorations, something that's fun. Make the ordinary extraordinary, the usual unusual. Make the boring interesting. Think about your business for just a minute, okay? What if you're a plumber, could drive an unusual vehicle or bring a huge gold wrench with you or a golden plunger in a special case, booties when entering the home? What if you had a no-crack guarantee where you guaranteed that your plumber wouldn't have a plumber's crack hanging out the back? Just something, anything. Use your freaking noggin. The idea here is that we're trying to trade time and energy for money that would be spent normally. And if you can figure out where to buy a massive crescent wrench, you can figure out a way to make it look gold with some sort of paint or something, carry it around. Have a no-crack guarantee, home of the no-crack. You think if you're advertising anywhere, even with a little teeny tiny advertisement that says home of the no-crack guarantee, that people aren't going to notice that? Of course they're going to notice that. Here's the truck. This is a famous picture. It's from the internet. It looks like the guy's sitting on the toilet. It's just a regular little truck with a camper thing on it. The amount of money required to paint that on the side of the truck is almost zero, a couple $100, okay? And here's what we've got, massive recognition. I love this Party Girls on the Go down here at the bottom. It's the Sweet and Sassy. It's a shop that does nails and hair for little girls, and they have birthday parties there where the girls come and they do their hair and they make themselves look like princesses. But they have this big, huge pink limo that sits outside, and we've got one of these here in my town. And that thing sits out there, and every time we drive by it, my daughter says, "Oh, I remember when I went to a birthday there." And all the girls that haven't been to a birthday there yet see the limo and they want to go to a birthday there. I'm not saying a guerrilla marketing idea is that you have the budget to go get a limo right now, but maybe you do. What if you had a window company and you went and you bought a limo? How much is it going to cost you on a monthly payment, and get it decked out in bright orange or fluorescent yellow and put something on it, show up to the house in a limousine? You say, well, that's crazy because then people would think I'm super expensive. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe you say you get first-class service but don't pay first-class prices. What if you showed them that your prices were reasonable? This freaking limousine's not going to cost you any more than having a truck, right? Why not? I don't know. This is called guerrilla marketing. You're trying to get noticed. Do something, okay? Do something. How about go hot pink? What if you were a painting company and you had pink shirts, pink jumpsuits, pink trucks, pink business cards, pink invoices, pink drop cloths, pink paintbrushes, ladders, trays, buckets, pink job signs, pink advertisements, flyers? Everything was hot pink. Would people notice that? The answer is absolutely. You got the pink truck sitting out in front of the house that has the pink sign in it, has the pink drop cloths with the pink ladder, with the pink bucket, with the guy wearing the pink jumpsuit painting the house. Who's going to not notice that? You know that pink stuff doesn't cost any more than other color stuff. It's just a different color. But here's what most people do. They go get a T-shirt, and it's got their cool little logo, and they have a white invoice, and they have the cheapest sign they can get, and they have a regular bucket. I'm not saying that you're a painting company. I'm saying do something. Do something. You could do this if you're a window company. Why not? Why not be the hot pink? All right, now let's go a little crazy here. Guerrilla quick hit, single people out. Now, this is something that's going to require some sort of advertising distribution, whether it's flyers, but this is one that I really like for radio. And you say, well, I don't think I can afford radio. Well, you can afford radio if you do it really, really smart, because you don't need very many spots. You just got to have a spot that makes people listen, and you could actually go on with maybe 1/10 of a normal budget. Instead of trying to build up frequency and repetition, which is how you really should do it once you have a little more budget, you can go in and you can just try to single people out, like special offers for people with mustaches. Now, here's what I know. If people have mustaches, they're very, very sensitive to the fact that they have a mustache. So if you went on the radio and you said, hey, my name is John, and I'm with ABC Windows, And we've got a special this month, and it's for people that have mustaches only. If you have a mustache, this is for you. If you don't have a mustache, don't call. Don't try to get this discount. Don't try to talk to us because we don't want to talk to you. We're only dealing with people with mustaches. You have to prove you have a mustache. Can't be fake. You have to have a mustache. Now, if you say that, do you realize what a ridiculous thing that is to say, and how all the people with mustaches are going to be 1,000,000% glued to whatever comes out of your mouth next? Do you understand that? That's all I'm trying to say. People with mustaches. Now, you'll see here in just a second, it doesn't specifically have to be people with mustaches. But what I'm trying to do is single people out that would be more likely to hear my ad if I do that, and then more likely to call. People over 350 pounds. You say, well, oh, geez, that's really terrible. I don't know. Go to the Cardiac Grill in Las Vegas and see that everybody over 350 pounds gets free food. You say, well, I don't think I like that. Well, don't do that then. But what if you ran an offer today for people with mustaches and tomorrow for people over 350 pounds, and et cetera, right? People over 80 years old, people with fake legs. Hey, if you got a fake leg, I mean, that might be a little bit smaller group. People named Tina, people that are CPAs, anybody that's a teacher, anybody that works white collar, anybody that works in the service industry and has a name tag and can prove it by showing me your name tag, then we'll give you this special offer. People who own the Rush album 2112, if it's on your iPod, then you're good. If not, you need to download it or whatever, right? It doesn't have to be Rush 2112. It could be anything, right? People who like the TV show Psych, or people who like the Dallas Cowboys, or any other thing you can think of. People who drive orange cars. Something unique and special that you could single people out. People whose first name starts with the letter L are going to get a special discount today. I'm telling you, I've done this. It works. It's the craziest thing in the world. But that's what guerrilla marketing is, right? Let's try getting a little bit crazy. All right, let's pause here for just a minute. Here's what we're going to do. Number one, we are going to give away, well, no, we'll save the book giveaway till the end. We'll do it at the end. Let's go through a couple more sponsors. Sponsor number 4 is Gutter Covers International. Now, you might know these guys by their trade name better, which is Gutter Topper. Gutter Topper, the original Gutter Topper. A lot of other companies call their products Gutter Toppers when, in fact, that's a trademark name, Gutter Topper. Here's what I love about Gutter Topper. I met the owner, Tony Iannelli, about 2 years ago, and he admitted to me something that no other gutter cover company has ever admitted to me, which is my product doesn't always work in every situation. And I thought, wow, that's interesting, because all these other guys are saying, guaranteed to work no matter what. He said, no, my product does not work. My product works about 85, 90% of the situations, but there's some situations, because of the type of leaves and debris that comes down, my normal gutter topper doesn't work. So he went out and he invented 4 other products. 4 other products. So he's got 5 in his line. I think he's up to 6 now that will cover any kind of leaf and any kind of debris situation. And now he has a full line that actually works to cover any kind of leaf problem, any kind of pine needle problem, whatever the case is. And instead of just saying, hey, it's great, don't worry about it, sometimes it works, whatever, he actually has done it right. It's a company I respect a tremendous amount. If you're interested in that great add-on product, this is one you definitely want to look at, Gutter Covers International. And here in just about 2 or 3 minutes, I'm going to give you a survey where you can check off companies you might be interested in. So let's go to the next one, which is Market Sharp. Now, Market Sharp has a special relationship with Monopolizer Marketplace dating all the way back to 2005. I was originally called by Tim Mush, who you're going to hear from here in just a second, who asked me, would you like to do a teleseminar? That's what we used to call webinars back in those days. And they've been a continual sponsor of ours for about 9 years now, and it's been a great relationship. And instead of me trying to do justice to the product, I'm going to bring Tim Mush on. Tim, are you with me?
I am here, Rich. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'd like for you to tell the folks about Market Sharp, if you don't mind.
I'd be happy to. I love this guerrilla marketing content, because these really are things that you just don't think about. But yet, when you go over some of this stuff, it's clear to me that when you kind of watch what goes on out there in the marketing world, there's a lot of companies that do this kind of stuff, and we do take notice. So I think it's a great subject matter to handle, Rich. So, yeah, a little bit about Market Sharp. Many of you on the call are clients of ours, and we appreciate that. But essentially what it is, it's a web-based application that helps you do a lot of the things you should be doing, but don't necessarily do or are disciplined to do. So we say there's an app for that. If you go to the next screen, really what we're talking about here is working with your prospects, leads, and customers, and generating leads and managing and tracking your leads, and also taking those customers that you get and turning them into lifetime customers through the use of just being organized and gathering data and using it. So a few of the things MarketSharp can do are on the next slide, and a couple things I want to point out is, first off, we have an arrow next to lead paint compliancy, and we're all aware of that. About 5 years ago, the EPA came around with our lead paint regulations. A lot of us aren't crazy about how we have to comply with that, but it's reality. And what's happening here is there's a whole bunch of changes taking place. There's recertification that's necessary. But really what's shaken down is to avoid enforcement actions on companies, we've learned that record keeping is of paramount importance. And one of the things MarketSharp can do is help you keep track of all your records related to being in compliance with your lead paint work practices. Radius marketing we'll talk about in a second. I know something, Rich, you talk about a lot is following up on unsold leads. I know you give the analogy of wall drug. And what's cool about MarketSharp is you can kind of set it and forget it and have all sorts of follow-up activities on autopilot to make sure you're staying in touch with all these contacts that you end up having throughout the course of doing business, including the ones that don't necessarily buy right away. And how about the final one on the right there, real-time reporting? That's something that's just critical, knowing your numbers so you can make better decisions, what's working, what's not. It's really something that's not just for big businesses anymore. Small businesses have got to know your numbers. So one more thing I want to mention before I turn it back to you, Rich, is something I'm excited about. In fact, it's being released finally within the next week. And it's something we have called Smart Mail Plus. And really what it is it's kind of doing proximity or job site marketing to the nth degree. And we really all should have a goal to get another job for every job we install. So picture this. You have a program like MarketSharp, and you get a customer, and all the homes in the neighborhood are perfect for the same kind of improvement. So you enter their information into the MarketSharp program into the customer section. Then you simply click a link there that says do a Smart Mail Plus campaign in the neighborhood. Now remember, you got a job sign in the yard and everything else. And here's what happens. The next slide is going to show that automatically what will be created is a whole bunch of really cool postcards and sent out for you the next day. So you don't have to touch that. What's neat about it is it has multiple response mechanisms, including a QR code they can scan with their mobile phone. But every postcard that goes out has a unique code that's unique to that individual recipient of the postcard. So when they go and respond to whatever call to action you have on your postcard, whether it's a consumer guide, free estimate of sweepstakes, whatever the case may be, when they go to the webpage to learn more, they put in their unique code. And automatically what's created for you on the fly is a job-specific web page that has a picture of the job you just created, which, by the way, is also on the postcard. It has that high degree of relevance to that neighborhood, maybe a picture of your brand-new clients, John and Mary Smith, you just finished a job for. But here's what's really cool. It's taking offline marketing, postcard, combining it with online marketing, meaning that when somebody lands on that page, we know it. And automatically you get an email saying, hey, this person just landed on your web page, just thought you'd want to know for follow-up purposes, even if they don't fill out the form on your web page. Because remember, each postcard has a code in that they have to put in so it identifies them. And then you get an email saying, hey, you got a lead, and then follow up. If they fill out the form on the web page, naturally you're going to get a different kind of email saying you got a hot lead, follow up. Then it also updates your Facebook page, your Twitter page, with information about the job you just created. So pretty cool, offline, online marketing. So listen, we'd be glad to tell you guys more about what MarketSharp can do. Those are just a few of the things. If you haven't had a demonstration of MarketSharp, you really should take a look, see if it's a good match for your business. So Rich is going to give you an opportunity in a second here to indicate interest you have in some of the sponsors. So if you'd like to learn more about MarketSharp, just say, yay, I'd like to learn a little bit more, and we'll get a hold of you and schedule a demonstration to tell you everything it can do. So back to you, Rich.
Okay, thanks, Tim. I appreciate that. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, but I'm going to launch the poll first. And the poll is now open. So if you will please vote. Come on, people. There you go. You click any of these that you're interested in. You can click more than one. You can click 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you want to click. So I just want to mention something about MarketSharp while you're doing that. when Tim talks about lead paint, Tim talks about the Smart Mail Plus, I want you to realize these are just a couple of the functions of this. The major function of this product is it's going to help you just stay on top of your complete lead flow from lead to customer, and then any kind of customer management. It's just a fantastic way to keep track of all of this stuff. It was designed specifically for this industry, and all of the terminology, all of the workflows are geared specifically. You go out and you buy some other kind of customer management software, and it's off the shelf. It has to be customized. It's not really a good fit. This stuff is fantastic. This is why we've been associated with MarketSharp for so long. It's just such a great fit. So that being said, I'd like to thank Tim for being with me. I do need a few more of you to vote. I don't have enough voters right now. Come on, people. We got to vote, or else we're going to not move on. It's a threat. Actually, it's not a threat. Just give you 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, thanks. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Whoever you were interested in will reach out to you at some point in the near future. Okay. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to move to the second part of this, and we're going to keep our rapid fire. We're going to talk about some mailing things. We're going to talk about a couple of web things, and then I'm going to give you some inflammatory things. So this is going to be kind of interesting. So hold on to your hat. Here we go. All right, let's talk about Guerrilla mailing, and let me make sure my technology is all working here like it's supposed to. Okay, so for Guerrilla mailing, by definition, if you send something out that's big, it's more likely to be seen than if you send something that's small. But the problem is there seems to be a lot of big mail these days. I don't know about you. I got in my mailbox, there's like 37 catalogs for junk my wife has ordered, and it's all in there, and it's hard to see the big stuff. Magazines, catalogs, whatever. But still, bigger is better than small. So let me show you some ways that you might stand out in the mailbox, okay? First of all, shiny envelopes. These work like a charm. You can buy them from Uline, and they're so rare, people just never get them that they're going to see them. The bigger, the better. Again, go to uline.com. You can order those off there. There's no link from my website or whatever. I'm not getting a kickback from them. It's just a good resource. So look at these shiny mailers, different colors. The other thing, well, I've got several things. One of them is huge postcards, 14 by 11, world's worst energy suckers. Your home's windows may needlessly waste more energy than a full-size SUV. Now, you also probably want to look into EDDM, every door direct mail. You can send these huge postcards for very, very little money. Just go to the post office website, or you don't even have to do that. Just go to Google and type EDDM, every door direct mail, and you can send these things for dirt cheap, okay? Again, more examples. Which sucks more energy? Your home's windows may needlessly waste more energy than a full-size SUV. Okay, so anyway, I don't need to go over those in detail. The biggest postcard that you can mail by USPS standards is 15 by 7, which is a good shape to, it's a good size for making a big bill. You see that? Revitalize your home with new siding, never paint again, whatever you want to put on the messaging. But you can send these out at a huge size. They're going to get seen in the mailbox. I'm also a huge fan of check mailers. We've seen these work consistently over a long period of time, including now. Appears to be a check. The amount should be believable. Should tie to some kind of an offer. Test different formats. I'll show you a couple here. This is one. We like to make these checks look as realistic as possible. If you look at it up close, we've taken actual checks and we've just mimicked the way that they look. We've replaced John and Ron and Joyce Steverson's windows on Round Hollow Lane. We'd like to offer you a check. We'd like to offer you a good neighbor discount if you do the same. The attached check is worth up to $500 on replacement window purchase. Another Guerrilla mailing idea is to make your mailer look like an official notice. Now, you do need to be careful with this and work with your mailing professional to make sure that you don't cross any legal boundaries, because there are legal guidelines to what you cannot do. For instance, in the state of Texas, you cannot have anything that looks like the state seal of Texas on the envelope. You can't say things that cross certain lines of official government mail, but you can be on the legal side of that and send things that look like the one on the screen. This is going to get noticed. People are going to look at it. What about mailing? Everyone loves getting a gift. Send an actual package with something fun and unusual in. Now, this gets expensive, right? So you look at it and say, well, I don't know if I really want to send a package because it might be too expensive? Well, if you can test this on a small scale, sending these in. Remember, I talked at the very, very beginning of this webinar about a guy that owns a metal roofing company, and he would go look for homes in the neighborhoods he wants to service, higher-end homes that had specific problems. And if you focused like a laser your mailings, whether it's this kind of mailing or an oversized mailer or a shiny package or anything, then it's going to have a lot more impact, okay? Test things first, okay? You don't want to just be haphazardly mailing things out and go out of business. It costs too much money. But you can do things like, any kind of fun things, iPods, this little, we sent this out for a dentist, this little tooth game with a crocodile hotline. If you have a problem, give us a call. Big box of candy, anything you can think of that might be germane to your particular product. Wacky carriers, another guerrilla mail idea. Did you know that you can mail coconuts? Find packages that catch people off guard. Stands out in the mail pile. I promise you that a coconut is going to stand out in the mail pile. As always, test. Other wacky mailers. Tubes. You can order these from Uline that look like dynamite or that have more of a solid look to them, like the ones on the left. The priority mail tubes. They're triangular mailing tubes. They're about 3.5 or 4 feet long. They're giant. You can see one sitting here. It's a picture of my desk with this giant tube sitting on it, and it definitely stands out in the mail. These cost somewhere in the neighborhood of about $6 each to mail. But if you had something interesting to put in there, or even just a letter, people are going to definitely see it, okay? You also can mail medicine bottles or champagne bottles. These are available through internet vendors. You can find these. I'm not saying, hey, go send 5,000 medicine bottles, but I'm just trying to impart to you that if you do something like this, people will notice. We've done stuff like this, and they work. They work. Next, Guerrilla Quick Hits, Take One boxes. If you've got a job site sign like the one on the left here, Free Light Windows, put one of these Take One boxes. You can order them off the internet from real estate supply companies. They cost anywhere from about $10 to $20, depending on how many of them you buy. Create a flyer that has information about your company and has your identity, and we'll talk a little bit about identity here shortly. But just put these out there. It'll extend the usefulness of your job site sign by a tremendous amount. People walking their dogs out with their children, walking around the neighborhood, joggers, whatever, will see this and take these. Use a Take One box. Try it. See what happens. They're so inexpensive. It's ridiculous not to try this. Web address. Easy to remember URL, phone numbers. Remember, Big Bertha, how easy that was to remember? Instead of Midland Roofing, which nobody's going to remember, it becomes bestdarnroofing.com, killerroofing.com, nosuckroofing.com, notaripoffroofing.com, treatyoulikemom.com, jesuslovesyouroofing.com, hotpinkroofing.com, whatever it is, something that's a little bit easier, stands out a little bit more, whatever you're comfortable with. Maybe you don't want to be Jesus Loves You Roofing or Treat You Like Mom Roofing, but maybe you're Hot Pink Roofing, whatever the case is, okay? Something that is easy to remember. BigFatRoofing.com. Gift cards. I told you at the beginning we're going to move fast, and I'm moving really fast right now. Okay? Gift cards. Gift card strategies. Use them as appointment setters. Remember in the script I gave you for the home show follow-up, we talked about giving gift cards. Incentives in advertising. If you call now, we'll give you the first 5 callers will receive a gift card. Included in mailers. Test doing gift cards in mailers. It's a little bit more expensive, but you don't have to mail very many to get good results. Deal clinchers. This comes from one of my clients in Southern California, had a $500 gift card that was left over from the home show that they were using as incentives at the home show, and the boss gave it, the sales manager gave 5 of these cards to his salesperson and said, look, if you've got a deal that looks like it's going to close, but they just won't quite pull the trigger, offer to give them an additional $500 off and tell them that this is left over from the trade show, the home show. We were going to give it away anyway, but since nobody claimed it, we'd like to give it to you, but only if it'll make a difference and you'll actually go ahead and close today. And they started using this, and people were falling over their coffee tables to grab that card out of their hand so they could get that extra $500. We're talking about, $10,000, $12,000 sales, okay? Deal clinchers, referrals, send it to the referred person. I love making these gift cards that look and appear to have, you know, a real tangible gift card feel to them, not just a cheap piece of paper that you printed out. But, you know, you can use that too if you have to. I'm going to not use this one. We don't have time for this. I want to get to something called being inflammatory. So let's talk about being inflammatory. Now, saying things and doing things that other people don't expect that will get their attention. You can do this on radio advertising. You can do this in print advertising, mailing. You know, anywhere that you've got an audience, you can use this kind of inflammatory. Now, what we don't want to do is get in trouble. Hang on here. We don't want to get in trouble by saying something stupid, but let me show you this ad. This is a very interesting ad. $65,000 brain surgery, now only $18,990. Now, these prices are really, really, really specific on there. This is a window company competing with a $650 window against companies that sell $189 windows, okay? So read this and you'll see what I mean. Almost as good as the original, minimal sacrifice required. If you can't afford full price brain surgery, you no longer have to go without. Thanks to our innovative no-frills approach, brain surgery is now available to anyone on any budget without sacrificing quality. Here's how we do it. Now, you might be thinking, what the heck does this have to do with windows? And the answer is only a little bit, but we're trying to help people make a point that you're going to sacrifice quality when you pay the lower price. And then the points are no expensive doctors, no expensive insurance, no expensive hospitals, no expensive anesthesia, no expensive rehabilitation. So, for instance, under no expensive hospitals, who would blame you for wanting to avoid the high cost of hospitals? They want something like $900 a day for a little shared room. And with most brain operations requiring at least 10 days in the hospital, you can see where a lot of your money is going. Our facility is conveniently located at the Sack and Store mini stores just off Highway 79 on Pool Road. We occupy 2 air-conditioned units, 17 and 18, for your comfort. Now, clearly, this is satire, and clearly it's trying to be funny. And if you go down to the very bottom, it says, don't worry, it's just your brain. Go for it. Maybe you should think twice before calling the $189 window companies, too. You get what you pay for. And then we have a free report for how much should you pay for good windows, and there's a little disclaimer at the bottom that says, hey, this is not a real ad. There's no brain surgery for sale. It's a spoof. We're just trying to help you understand that there's more to good windows than price. And these things get seen, they get noticed, okay? Here's a check mailer that we sent out for Taylor & Young Windows. My marketing guy insisted that you'd be dumb enough to believe this was a real check. I told him I don't offer stupid fake discounts. So here's a fake check for $0. If you're interested in great windows without all the games and sales pressure, then call the window nerd. And he talks about how his marketing guy insisted that he has this offer, but he didn't think it would work, so he decided to, you know, split the middle and do a $0 check. It's goofy and it's weird, but I'm trying to impart something to you. From a guerrilla marketing standpoint, this stuff gets looked at, it gets noticed, it gets read, and the point comes through. I mean, what was the point of the brain surgery ad? It was, you don't want to pay $189 for a window. What is the point of the $0 check? The point is that we don't play pricing games. We've got good, honest pricing. There's not just silly for the sake of silly. It's not just goofy for the sake of goofy. There is a definitive point behind it. All right, last one, guerrilla negotiation. To get a good deal on advertising, do this. Offer the magazine, the newspaper, whatever it is, a pay-per-result advertising. Meet them in person and get a pre-written check, okay? And then be willing to burn it. So here's how this works. You go into the meeting and you say, look, I can't afford to spend the price that you're asking for this publication, but I'll tell you what I will do. I will offer you $50 for every lead that we get. It's worth it for me to get leads for $50. If you're willing to do that, I will prepay you right now for the first 100 leads. Here's a check for $5,000. Would you like to take my offer or not? We'll set up a phone number so we can trace all the calls. We'll know exactly that these calls came from this specific advertisement. I'll give you a report. I'll update you weekly, and I'll send you more money as necessary as my account with you becomes depleted. Here's the check for $5,000. Would you like to do this? And if they say no, or if they say they're not sure, if they say they have to talk to their manager, you pull out an aim and flame and you light the check on fire right in front of their face. And it has an amazing impact when they watch money that has their name on it burn. And you say, well, I don't know if I want to be that dramatic. Well, then rip it. You know, maybe the fire code scares you. But I'm telling you, this is an interesting way to make people pay attention. Okay? Now, we're going to end this up with the secret weapon of guerrilla marketers. But this is actually the secret weapon of all marketers. It's identity. And you've heard me talk about this before. But I don't want you going into your guerrilla marketing campaign without first considering the most important element of any marketing campaign, which is identity. Okay? Are you with me on this? Identity, using words, phrases, and images that instantly, definitively communicate who you are, why you're different and better, what people can expect when doing business with you. Okay? Communicate them with power, precision, and passion. Then you integrate this into all your marketing efforts, whether it be the big bill that we talked about or the home show things that we talked about, the canvassing scripts that we talked about, the mailers that we've been talking about. All of these things we've talked about have to have a message behind them. Okay? If you've got these crazy, interesting guerrilla things, but there's no message of substance behind it, then they're going to ultimately fall flat. So the real secret weapon of the guerrilla marketer is identity. Now, you may have been with me on a previous webinar. Stick with me. I want to show you how this works. We had a remodeling company. They'd been in business for 25 years. The guy was good at what he did. He was really OCD. Everything had to be exactly right. Every little detail was meticulously paid attention to. Anything that wasn't exactly right, he wouldn't let it pass through and let the customer see it. So the premise for this guy's company was, I'm a remodeler with exacting standards who will do everything right. As we looked at his website, it's just a typical, normal-looking website. This is before he met us. He had this website. And if you read through it, it sounds like Charlie Brown's mother talking on the Peanuts cartoon special. Wah, 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 wah. It just doesn't have anything interesting or relevant. It doesn't really tell who he is, why. Anything. So we redid his website and we drew out the identity and put it into his website. And it looked like this. Are you persnickety, demanding, hard to please, picky? Then I'm the remodeler for you. I'm not the fastest. I'm not the cheapest. I am, however, according to my customers, the best. And then we give a cell phone number. It says, feel free to interrupt my dinner. Wake me up at 2 a.m. Make me leave home early from vacation. My only concern is your job is 100% perfect. And this is the company's identity. We're going to do things right. We're going to be perfect. We're not going to do things fast. We're going to take the time to do things right. And then we take this identity and we put it into advertisements. Are you anxious to get the job done, or are you anxious to get the job done right? I could honestly care less if you have a list of 3 remodelers who are cheaper than me, and so on and so forth. You put it into the home show. Are you persnickety, demanding, hard to please? Then I'm the remodeler for you. Then the pop-up banners with the giveaway. We're not the fastest. We're not the cheapest. According to our customers, though, we're the best. We put this on the big bill, right? This is the big bill. It's a $1,000 bill or a $20,000 bill, whatever you want. These are the pop-ups that are at the home show. All of this works hand in hand with the guerrilla marketing. You want to send a mailer? Great. I shut down the job site in disgust, ripped out the entire floor, and started over again from scratch. Put that on a 14-inch mailer, see what happens. Me and not done exactly right don't get along very well. If I have to choose between profit and perfection, I'll choose perfection every single time. So we're talking about a messaging element to these tactics that we've been talking about. You take your identity, create that, put it into your mailers, pre-position materials, websites, advertisements, everything. It becomes the hub of your entire business. It's identity, okay? So we're going to wrap up here. I'm going to give you a chance to, if you'll stick with me just for about 2 more minutes, I'm going to give you a chance to win the books. We'll be doing that giveaway. Also, we'll have one more poll. Before I do that, let me tell you how you can do business with MYM if you're interested. In order to operate your business at maximum marketing efficiency, you have to have certain things in place, okay? And it starts with your identity. We touched on that there at the very end. I know it was a quick review. You can go onto my website. You can search in the blog for identity. You'll see a webinar if you need to review that in more detail. We've covered it extensively on the website. Then you choose which packages make the most sense for your business, whether you need website, pre-positioning, home show, proximity marketing, new movers, SEO, pay-per-click. These are the things that you have to have in order to operate, okay? It's just no way around it. You can't say, well, I don't want to do SEO. It doesn't work. It's just a nonsensical strategy, okay? But the pricing is modular. It's easy to afford, okay? So stick around. I'm going to give away the books here in just a second. Well, I already did that. All of this we do for a low monthly payment. Here's how it works. We create the identity for you. We write your website content for you, 25 pages, more if you need it. We professionally build the website. We set up your SEO. We do the monthly maintenance for 3 years, create a mobile version of your website, update your website, whatever you need for 3 years, unlimited. We'll manage your pay-per-click for 3 years. We'll create pre-positioning materials, reports, contractor standards guide, emails, ongoing webinar training. We do all of this. The bundle value of all that, if you buy it modularly from us, is $60,000. Okay, so think about this. If you could replace your under-leveraged marketing with stuff that actually works, that gets the job done, do you have an identity that's clear in your current marketing? Are you getting enough web-based leads? Are you spending money on stuff that's not working? With this bundle, it's only $2,999 down and $599 a month, okay? It's affordable because we know the remodelers, mostly small businesses, our typical client is about $750,000 in sales to about $3 million in sales. We have some that are bigger, not very many that are smaller, but that's the sweet spot. And this is made specifically to give companies in that range the things that they need to operate at maximum marketing efficiency at an affordable price, okay? So what you can do is go to our website, mymonline.com, and you'll see all the various things there. But if you'll click on this one down here that says bonus bundles, and when you click on that page, you scroll down a little bit, you'll see that there's a monopolized bundle. That's the one that I just covered with a $60,000 value. We also have a kitchen sink bundle. You can click on any of these elements, and it will have more explanation of what those things are, okay? The kitchen sink bundle is more money. It includes more things, but the monopolized bundle is where you probably should start. Go to mymonline.com. You can just go straight to bonus, or you can click on bonus bundles, okay? And we do have a webinar special for you today. Number one, $500 cash discount so that the down payment goes from $29.99 to just $24.99. We'll also give you $100 off per month for the first 6 months to make it a little more affordable. That's $4.99 a month instead of $5.99. And I'll also give you a free fulfillment bonus if you contact me today. Free ad writing package, which is worth $3,000. We'll write ads for you for whatever purpose you might need, or we'll give you a free home show package where we'll put all the elements together for you, do all the design work. We don't give you actually the backdrop. You have to hire a vendor to do that. But we'll create all of the elements that you need for your home show, including the identity, the Monopolize Your Marketplace way. This includes, this whole bundle that we're talking about includes your identity, creating a whole new website for you, all the SEO, all the pay-per-click, pre-positioning materials, and the fulfillment bonus of either ad writing or home show package. If you're interested in this, I want you to send me an email to my personal email address, richharshaw@gmail.com. That's going to come directly to me, richharshaw@gmail.com. In the subject line, put webinar special and include your cell number. Now, while you're thinking about that, I'm going to open the last poll. And that poll is launching right now. The question is, what is your interest in Monopolize Your Marketplace? If you'll please vote on that. If you're interested in the bonus bundles, you can check that off. If you are interested in having an identity consultation, you can check that off. And if you're interested in the bonus bundle and you're interested in the webinar special, please send me the email to richharshaw@gmail.com. While you're doing that, I am going to give away the books. So here we go. 3 books going to be given away right now. The first one, and Leslie is making a note of this. Let's see. Okay, let me do this real quick. Okay, the first book is going to go to Alicia Hall. The second book is going to go to Doug Walter. And the third book is going to go to, I'm not going to give it to you, Mary Beth, even though your name came up. I'll give you one anyway, but I know you, so I'll just give you one separately. Elena Rydell is the third winner. Elena Rydell. Those are our 3 winners. And if you will please vote right now. I'm going to give you 10 more seconds, then we'll start taking questions. If you'd like to ask a question on anything that we've talked about today, guerrilla marketing, identity, anything else, just type it into the question part of your console there, and I will take any kind of questions that you have. So you've got 10 seconds, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All righty. I'll take any questions now. Going too fast. Yes, I know. It's a fast-paced webinar. Doug, thanks for the book. I'm going to buy a Powerball ticket now. It must be my lucky day. Doug, I don't recommend that. You've just won a book that has a retail value of $25, and unfortunately for you, it's probably the last thing in your life you'll ever win. But, hey, it could be worth millions if you read it, right? So I don't know if that'll work or not. I didn't hear the winner names. Could you please repeat them? Sharon asked. It was Doug and Elena Rydell and Alicia Hall. Those were the 3 winners. Okay, any marketing questions? Usually we get a good 10 or 15 questions at this point of the webinar. If you've got any questions, this would be a great time to ask them. Okay, recyclable shopping bags, are those worth investing in? And the answer is, I'm not really sure. They don't sound like that big of a deal to me. So I'm going to say no. But if you have an experience that's different than that, then go for it. I'm not opposed to them. All right, any other questions? We usually have way more questions than this. It's kind of an interesting topic, guerrilla marketing. All right, okay, now the questions are starting to come in. Let me just let a couple come in. All right, just a quick, Bill, I'll get to you in a minute. Here's a follow-up question from Amber. I noticed a lot of companies giving away at home shows. That's why I'm curious. You know, at a home show, that's not a bad idea. It's a way that people can carry their big bag of stuff around. So everyone says, oh, I want to get the bag. You know what I would do instead of that at the home show? I would create a marketing piece that is really tall, that sticks out of their bag and has some disruptive quality. If it's a big bill, that is always good. If that's not quite tall enough, maybe you make something even a little bit bigger. But I don't have a problem with the bag. But I wouldn't expect people necessarily going to go home and look at the bag and go, wow, look at this bag. Let me call these people. All right, here's a question from Bill. Working with a kitchen remodeler with 40 years experience in a file cabinet full of old drawings from previous customers. Any guerrilla ways to use these old drawings from the 1990s? Huh, that is a very interesting question. And the answer is probably yes. Off the top of my head, Bill, tell me how big these drawings are, just if you don't mind. How big are the drawings? Typical drawing, 8.5 by 11. Okay, so just a regular piece of paper. I don't know, fold them up into paper airplanes and throw them at people as they pass by. Bind them into a huge book and go knock on somebody's door and say, we've done, how many do you have, Bill? How many are there? File cabinets full, right? So you go and you say, we've got, bind them into a huge thing, like as big as you can bind before the binding thing won't go any bigger, and then just show them to people. Go into a sales meeting and drop them on people's desks. Here's what we've done. We've done, 3,900, and here they are. And show these, use these as evidence and proof of what you've done. It becomes very, very impressive because here's what it communicates to people. Wow, if they've done that, then they can pretty much do anything, which is what you want them to know. How can you use those? Maybe you could make something paper mache out of them. I don't know. Everybody loves paper mache. Send them to old customers and ask them if it's time to remodel. Yes, you could do that. You could send them stacks of them. Anything. I mean, Bill, get a little crazy. Light them on fire. Fire is always good. Make a video and say, here's all of the drawings that we've done, and we're going to make a paper mache house out of them. I don't know, something crazy. Next question comes from Mike. What do you think about using a bloodhound as a company mascot in ads and on websites? I've got no problem with that, Mike. It's interesting. I mean, I don't know about a bloodhound versus a different kind of dog. I'm not really up on different dog breeds, but I like the creativity, and I'd give that dog some kind of an interesting name and maybe put him in a little company shirt of some sort, or I don't know. But, yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's the idea. Remember from the beginning of the webinar, memorable, unusual, things are a little bit different, right? Oh, I need to, oh, I did close that poll. Okay, next question. How can I get a copy of the brain surgery ad? Tom, if you will do me a favor and email me at the email address shown on your screen right now and put in the title, the subject line, brain surgery ad, I'll email you a copy just for you. And I will do it on one condition, Tom, which is if you decide to run it, you will report back to me the results, because we've had several run it and it's had interesting results. So, yeah. Next question, do you like things? I don't even know what that means, Robert. I think I like things about as much as the next guy. If you mean, am I overly materialistic? Maybe not. I have a desk that has things on it. I like those just fine. I'm not sure what you mean, but I'm going to go with yes. I do like things. Next question. Oh, Mike says his dog is going to be your best friend in the business. Okay, yeah, I like that. I like that little tie. It's cute, and it's interesting. All right, any other questions, or are we about done? Okay. And I guess we'll call it a day. Thanks so much for participating. Really appreciate you being with me today, and we will be in touch with you. If you filled out our poll and wanted additional information, we'll be in touch with you probably within the next several minutes. And sure appreciate your time today. Thanks so much. Bye now.